growing up, being Muslim, being Welsh, the two things just organically wove together in the way that I lived my life. But for a lot of people, it was something strange. It was something odd. The Quran was something that they knew was in my house, and if they wanted to touch it, they'd have to wash their hands, and that was about it. I was 19 when the center was founded here. I am showing my age. And I was eagerly awaiting my own start at Cardiff Uni. Yes, I started late. Long story. I thought I was going to be a famous artist. Didn't pan out. But yeah, I remember. So the first mosque that I went to when I was a kid was Al Manar Center and then Dar al Isra, both mosques just across the way. And I remember that night going to the mosque, and there was this real buzz. There was this excitement that something was happening in Cardiff Uni for Muslims. And it wasn't a visiting lecture or something like that. There was history being made. And it wasn't just that Yusuf Islam was coming, even though everyone was very excited about Yusuf Islam coming. And I think the thing for me that felt significant is knowing that this city, the place where I feel Cynefin, so Cynefin is a Welsh language word. Yes, I'm going to go into the origins, because if this is not the room for nerding, where is, right? So the origin of the word Cynefin is a farming term called heft, which is the space where sheep feel comfortable to graze, right? And it's been kind of adopted into terminology now here in Wales. Cynefin is the place where you belong, the place where you feel is yours, okay? And so this place, this Cynefin, it felt validating to me that my chosen faith had now become a viable topic of study in this city. It felt like a real kind of welcoming acceptance of my own blended identity. And I think after the events that we are witnessing, particularly on the past weekend that a couple of us have already referenced, it's important to acknowledge that Cardiff, that Wales, a nation of sanctuary, was and still is a place where difference in ideas, in ways of living, difference is welcome. So I've been asked to give you a little bit about what the poem is about. So the poem is titled Where the Two Rivers Meet, okay? And the epigraph, which is just the literary term for like the anchor sentence, is it is reported that the prophet Moses, met Al-Khidr, the keeper of wisdom, at the place where two rivers meet. Now, before all the scholars and academics jump on me and say that's not accurate, I'm taking poetic license, because I believe accurately it is Al-Khidr resided at the place where two bodies of water met. But two bodies of water is a little bit clunky for poetic harmony. So, and also my Arab heritage is from Iraq, and specifically from the marshes of southern Iraq, which is well known as the land between rivers. So there's kind of a poetic unity there. So this is, okay. So some of the references, I like to reference myths and historical figures. So some of them are obvious, some of them are embedded in the poem. Please feel free to come and talk to me, correct me, ask me afterwards about them. So I talk about Ozymandias, which is a famous Shelley poem that references Ramesses II, I believe, was a pharaoh who wanted to be remembered forever. It mentions, of course, the story of Musa and Al-Khidr. It mentions the green man, the bestower and keeper of all wisdom and nature. Odin, the Norse god, and his quest for faith with Yggdrasil, the tree of knowledge and life and rebirth. I mentioned Sidrat al-Muntaha, which is in the Islamic tradition, the tree that guards the boundary between what is known, the realm that is known, and the realm of Allah, which is the unknown. Differences between the tree of knowledge in the biblical sense and the tree of the Garden of Eden in the Islamic sense. I mentioned Cynefin. There's a bit of Cat Stevens music in there for those who know some of the lyrics. There we are. So, where the two rivers meet. I want to thank the Islam UK Centre for commissioning this poem, and I hope that it does justice to all the incredible work that you do. We think of knowledge as a rooting thing, knotting questions through spine, skin, and bone. We cling to memories of sand and stone, but forget how to hear the birds singing back their gifted names. Trees heavy with wisdom murmur of the place where two rivers meet, wishing for ways to communicate with us clay-made things. They copy us, plunging in with rolled-up trouser cuffs. They dip and trail their limbs through moving water. Together, trees and people, we watch the ripples of how a question grows. Knowledge was never forbidden us. We were always free to eat and name the eating. Goodness or greed or whatever words occurred to the first curious man to step in and get wet. Here we honor the place where two rivers meet. Paying attention to things changes them, and soon the answer to where the children play or how a mosque becomes a home clarifies. Promises left in rainbows or upturned hands unfurl new legacies, and so scholarship meanders on. I'll confess, sometimes I bend back like warped wood, drawn to my own knowing of an ancient land between rivers where I think a woman called my name through time and a tattooed mouth. Ahlan, Hanan, she sings, and I am here with wet feet, receiving her gift of Cynefin across worlds and water and all things that barrier understanding. Beloved are the curious, held by communities of braided roots that stretch, making room for new shoots and tributaries of wondering. Together we read and question with the rivers as refuge around us.